Nobody warns you about her. The dress gets fitted. The ring gets sized. Someone gives a toast about two families becoming one. And no one, not one person, sits you down and tells you the most complicated relationship in your marriage might not be with your husband. So I will. There are 12 of them, 12 types, and I've ranked them, not by how cruel they are, by how long it takes to see them clearly. Because the loud ones cost you a few ruined dinners. The quiet ones cost you years. Type 1, you'll spot before the wedding cake is cut. Type 12, I've watched a woman live next to that one for 20 years and blame herself the whole time. One thing first, so we're fair. Most mothers-in-law are decent. Some are wonderful. This is about the other kind. Type 1, the bulldozer. She has a key to your house. You didn't give her one. 7 in the morning and she's in your kitchen, moving your things to where they should be. Her word. Should. Here's the thing about the bulldozer. She doesn't hate you. You're just in the way. A closed door is a suggestion. A boundary is a dare. I was in the neighborhood. She lives 40 minutes away. The pattern is simple. Nobody ever held a line with her, so lines stopped being real. She's ranked first because she never hides. Bulldozers don't sneak. But watch closely. She isn't the real test. The real test is whether the man who let her keep that key ever asks for it back. At least she's honest about what she is. The next one isn't unkind, exactly. She's just never once been impressed. Type 2, the critic. You cooked for 6 hours. She runs one finger along your shelf on the way to the table. Then the reviews come in. The roast, interesting. Your job, still doing that? Your face, you look tired. She says interesting the way other people say wrong. And understand what the criticism is for. It was never about the salt. It's about rank. Every correction is a small ceremony, reminding the room who outranks who. It works because it's slow. One comment per visit. Deniable, every single time. You'll spot her fast. The damage is that she teaches you to spot her. You start hearing her voice in your own head. Pre-flinching. Editing yourself in an empty kitchen. The critic wants you smaller. The next one wants something you'd never think to guard. Type 3, the queen. There's a wedding photo you can't look at anymore, because she's in it, in champagne, close enough to white that strangers ask. The queen makes every event hers. Your engagement becomes her announcement. Your baby shower ends with someone comforting her. One bride asked her, politely, to step out of a single photo of just the couple. She wouldn't move. Family comes first. The pattern, attention is a fixed pie. Every slice on your plate came off of hers. She's easy to spot. She's in the photos, front and center. Spotting her was never the problem. Getting the day back is. And when the spotlight won't come to her, the fourth type makes her own weather. Type 4, the volcano. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is... Then a 20-minute phone call where she screams until her voice cracks. And somehow, by evening, you're the one apologizing. That's the real trick of the volcano. Not the eruption. The aftermath. A whole family rearranging itself around her temper, like furniture around a fire. Holidays become pressure readings, everyone watching the gauge. And when she finally blows, the question is never what's wrong with her. It's, what did you say to her? You'll spot her the first time the temperature in a room drops, and everyone pretends it didn't. 4 down. And here's what nobody tells you about the loud ones. Loud is a mercy. Loud you can point at. The next 4 wear camouflage. The second 4 don't raise their voices. They don't have to. Type 5, the martyr. She never asks for anything. She announces it. No, don't worry about me. I'll just be here, alone. The sigh is the artillery. The guilt is the leash. Set one boundary, one, and the report reaches your husband within the week. She cries herself to sleep now, every single night, praying you'll go back to who you used to be. You never see the tears. You only ever hear about them, secondhand, from a man who looks at you differently now. The pattern is suffering as currency. Her pain outranks your reasons. So every no you say gets reclassified as a wound you caused. And it's hard to argue with a drowning woman, even one drowning in an inch of water. She takes a couple of years to see because she looks like fragility. She votes like control. And there's a tell if you want one. Her health, her loneliness, her heartbreak, they flare on a schedule, right before your holiday. right after your good news. The martyr collects in guilt. The next one collects in cash. Type 6. The banker. She paid for the wedding, or the down payment, or the crib, the stroller, the good vacation. And the money arrived warm. It felt like love. Some of it probably was. But then the opinions arrived, with receipts, your furniture, your job, whether you should really be going back to work so soon. And the first time you push back, it lands right on schedule. After everything we've done for you, there's the reveal. It wasn't a gift, it was an acquisition. She wasn't helping you build a life, she was buying shares in it. And shares come with voting rights. That's why her opinions never sound like suggestions. The test only takes one argument. Watch whether a gift ever comes back as leverage. The banker buys her seat at your table. The seventh type wants your seat. Type 7. The competitor. You host the holiday. She arrives carrying a second dinner. Full course, his favorites. The way he actually likes them. She dresses a little younger when you're in the room. Your news gets one-upped inside a minute. If you were sick, she was sicker. The pattern is that in her head, you didn't join the family. You took her position in it. Every meal is a scoreboard. Every hug he gives you is one she's counting. Of the 12, this one is more sad than dangerous. There's grief under it. Somewhere in there, a woman is mourning being needed. But grief with elbows still leaves bruises. You'll spot her at the table eventually. The harder thing to see is what she's teaching him. That love is a contest, and somebody has to lose it. The competitor at least fights where you can see her. The eighth one works in the dark, in other people's ears. Type 8. The broadcaster. There's a family group chat. You're not in it. You find out at Christmas, when you hug an aunt you've always liked, and feel her go stiff. She's heard things. There's a version of you circulating in that family. Selfish, cold, keeping him from them. And you've never met her. She was written by your mother-in-law, one phone call at a time. The broadcaster doesn't attack. She narrates. And the trap is built in. Stay quiet, and the story stands. Push back, and now you're proving it. She takes years to spot, because the campaign runs in rooms you're never in. By the time it reaches you, it isn't gossip anymore. It's history. 8 down, 4 left. And if none of these felt exactly like yours, I know. Stay with me. The last 4 come disguised as love. The most dangerous ones don't look like enemies. That's not an accident. That's the design. Type 9. The replacement. Your daughter is 4 weeks old. You wake at 6. Walk to the crib. It's empty. Your phone lights up. A photo. Your baby, asleep on her chest. One line under it. Sleep over at Grandma's. She used the spare key. She fed her formula. You'd asked her not to. And when you arrived, still shaking, she looked at you like you were the unreasonable one. Here's the decode, and it's a cold one. In her head, that's not her grandchild. That's her second chance. A do-over baby, arriving right on time. Listen for the pronoun, my baby. Watch for the corrections. She soothes better, feeds better, knows better. You're not being helped, you're being phased out. And she's brutal to spot because, from the outside, it photographs as devotion. She takes the baby. The 10th one takes something quieter. Type 10. The best friend. She's warm from day one, pours the wine, leans in. You can tell me anything, I'm on your side. And you do, because you wanted this, a mother who chose you. So you tell her the marriage is wobbling, the money's tight, that some days you wonder if you're enough. Then a year later, your own words come back to you. Through her son, edited, sharpened, aimed. Every confession was filed, the warmth was collection, and the file only opens the day you finally say no to something. She takes years because the evidence is a friendship, and the whole time, it feels like the one safe part of his family. The hardest part isn't the betrayal. It's mourning a friend who never existed. At least she needed you close. The 11th doesn't need you at all. Type 11. The saint. Everyone loves her. That's not an exaggeration. Everyone. She runs the church bake sale, remembers every birthday. Your own mother thinks you got lucky. The knife only comes out when the room is down to 2 people. One sentence. Quiet. Precise. Something about your body, your marriage, what he could have had. And when you repeat it, you watch it die in the air. She would never say that. Are you sure you heard right? That's the design. The reputation isn't a side effect. It's armor, built over decades, so the cruelty arrives pre-denied. Almost no one spots her because spotting her costs you witnesses. They were hers before you got there. So hear this part plainly. You're not crazy. You heard what you heard. And still, she's only ranked 11th. Because the last one never attacks at all. Type 12, the wife. No key, no white dress, no screaming. Nothing you could screenshot. She's lovely to you, actually. Polite, warm even. She just calls him every morning, and he answers on the first ring. Decisions in your marriage arrive pre-made. We think you two should wait on the house. And the we isn't you and him. She isn't competing with you for her son. That's what took me years of watching to understand. In her head, there's no competition. The two of them are the marriage. You're the guest. She had him for decades before you did. She just never gave him back. I watched this happen to someone I loved. She spent years auditing herself. Her tone, her cooking, her body, hunting for the things she'd done wrong. There was no thing. She'd married a man who was already spoken for. She's ranked 12th because there's no incident. Nothing to point at. Just a husband who is somehow never fully in the room. 12 types. And the real ones usually run 2 or 3 at once. The martyr who banks, the saint who broadcasts. Maybe yours is just the bulldozer, and the fix is a locksmith. But if you got to type 12 and your chest went quiet, you're not crazy. The pattern was built long before you walked in. It was never a reaction to you. You already knew. You just needed a man to say it.